A pair of amateur electronics technicians vanished into the hills above Rio de Janeiro one August day in 1966, only to be found days later in a scenario so confounding it has resisted explanation for more than half a century. Dressed in matching dark suits and raincoats, wearing homemade lead eye masks, and clutching a notebook of precisely timed instructions, Manuel Pereira de Cruz and Miguel Jose Viana presented investigators with a puzzle that merged science, spirituality, and the uncanny. No wounds, no confirmed toxins, no clear motive. Only a handful of cryptic clues and the silent masks themselves. This narration traverses the timeline of their last known movements, examines every forensic detail, explores the leading theories, and reflects on the enduring legacy of a case that continues to capture the imagination of mystery seekers around the world. On the morning of August 20th, 1966, a boy flying a kite atop Morro de Vintém spotted two figures lying motionless among the underbrush. By the time local police arrived, the sun had climbed high, revealing the bodies of Cruz, age 34, and Viana, age 32. They lay side by side on the sloping terrain, their dark suits and long raincoats buttoned neatly against an overcast sky. Each man's hands gripped a small spiral notebook and an empty foil water packet, as though they had clutched these objects in their final moments. The most unsettling detail was the lead eye masks, two roughly cut pieces of sheet lead, each fitted with elastic straps that bound them snugly over the men's eyes. These crude goggles seemed designed to shield vision, and yet there was no sign of light burns or impact. Nearby stood a portable radio receiver, its dials frozen at a particular frequency, and two gelatin capsules whose contents had already dissipated. No footprints, no discarded belongings, and no indication of a struggle. Only the silent tableau of two friends waiting for an event that would never come. 3 days earlier, on August 17th, Cruz and Viana had confided in friends and family that they intended to conduct a scientific experiment on the hill. Both men worked as electronics technicians in Niterói and shared a fascination with spiritism and unidentified aerial phenomena. Witnesses reported seeing them around 4 p.m. at the Vista Alegre train station, carrying sealed capsules and a small radio, dressed impeccably in collared shirts and ties under their heavy coats. When a taxi driver dropped them at the base of Morro de Vintém, they instructed him to return the next morning if they left no other sign, a request that hinted at a timed and anticipated outcome. Neighbors living near the hill recalled hearing low voices just after dusk, though the damp evening muffled most sound. On the day of their disappearance, a light drizzle had begun to fall, making the raincoats feel fitting for the terrain. The formal attire suggested they expected adverse conditions or possibly a blinding flash, while the notebook's precise timing, 2 hours between arrival and capsule ingestion, indicated a degree of planning far beyond a casual outing. Yet no one witnessed their ascent in full, and all efforts to recreate their path up the hill failed to reveal additional clues. Autopsies performed on August the 22nd offered no answers. Examiners found no external injuries, no cuts, bruises, or signs of violence. Internal examinations revealed elevated traces of an unknown substance, but 1960s toxicology labs lacked the sophistication to identify the compound. The gelatin capsules recovered at the scene had already degraded into inert fragments, providing investigators with only the vaguest hint of chemical involvement. With no visible cause of death, the coroner declared the verdict unknown, a classification so rare it underscored the case's profound mystery. Speculations ranged from radiation exposure, given the lead masks, to poisoning or even asphyxiation, yet none aligned perfectly with the clinical observations. The radio, set to a specific frequency, bore no recorded messages or signals, and the masks showed no signs of heat damage or contamination. What the men anticipated remained locked in the pages of their notebook and the silence of their tomb. The small spiral notebook offered the clearest window into the pair's intentions. In block letters, the entries read, 1630, be at the place, 1830, ingest capsules, after effect, protect vision, wait for signal masks, after signal, protect the site. Despite its brevity, the notebook's clinical tone suggested a scientific protocol rather than a spiritual ritual. No signatures, no additional instructions, and no mention of participants beyond Cruz and Viana themselves. Investigators scoured medical and industrial suppliers for similar capsules without success, and the lead mask's crude construction left no traceable manufacturer. Without context, each line became fodder for speculation. Was the signal a flash of light, a radio transmission, or something else entirely? Extraterrestrial encounter. Cruz and Viana's interest in UFO phenomena fueled the idea that they expected first-hand contact with an unidentified craft. The lead masks could filter harsh glare, while the radio receiver awaited anomalous signals. Numerous UFO sightings in Brazil during the 1960s lent the theory weight among enthusiasts, who pointed to unidentified lights spotted near Morro do Vintém in the weeks before the incident. Covert experimentation. Another hypothesis holds that the pair were unwitting subjects in a covert Cold War experiment. The meticulous timings mirror controlled laboratory protocols, and the masks resemble crude radiation goggles. Some suggest testing psychoactive or radiological agents under field conditions, though no declassified documents have ever corroborated such activities. Transcendental Pact. An alternative posits that Cruz and Viana entered a voluntary pact, perhaps seeking spiritual transcendence through a toxic or hallucinogenic dose. The lack of suicide notes beyond the notebook, and testimony from friends who described both men as optimistic just days earlier, complicate this theory. Yet in spiritist circles of the era, dramatic demonstrations of faith and communion were not unheard of. Accidental poisoning. A more prosaic view suggests the capsules contained an industrial chemical or pesticide that produced delayed fatal effects. The lead masks, in this scenario, were a misguided attempt to protect against imagined hazards. This theory aligns with cases of mismarked reagents and misinformed amateur experimentation, but again falters against the absence of overt poisoning symptoms. In the decades since, the lead masks case has inspired books, podcasts, and documentary films, cementing its status as Brazil's most enigmatic cold case. Scholars and amateur sleuths alike return repeatedly to Morro do Vintém, retracing steps and re-examining evidence in hopes that modern forensic technology, advanced mass spectrometry, DNA profiling, or even digital anthropological analysis might finally yield new insights. In recent years, witness statements long relegated to police archives have resurfaced in interviews, adding colorful yet inconclusive details. Strange lights in the distance, unfamiliar vehicles parked at the hill's base, and whispered tales of clandestine meetings late at night. Yet none of these anecdotes have broken the case open. Today, the original notebooks, masks, and radio equipment remain sealed in a police vault, accessible only to authorized researchers under strict conditions. On the quiet rise of Morro do Vintém, two curious men prepared meticulously for an event that would never unfold. Formal suits, heavy raincoats, homemade lead masks, and a handful of gelatin capsules formed the framework of an experiment that defied logical explanation. Whether driven by hope of alien contact, ambitions of scientific discovery, or a desire for spiritual ascension, Cruz and Viana's final act stands as a chilling testament to the human spirit's quest for the unknown. As long as those masks remain locked away, the hill will keep its secrets, inviting each new generation to ask the same haunting question. What did they see or hope to see on that fateful evening in August 1966? Hit subscribe, ring the bell, and leave a comment telling us which mystery you want unraveled next. Your curiosity powers our exploration. Join us on this voyage through time.